Oh my goodness. Hi, Tara,
Hello.
Lesley. It's wonderful to chat with you. I really do appreciate it.
Likewise, thanks for watching the movie.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Compulsus is it's a wild ride. I thought it was really powerful and really strong.
Thank you.
Tara, I mean, maybe we'll start with you. I was just wondering, from like with you as the writer director, what was it that gave you the idea for this particular film?
It's sort of like a germination I had for a long time that started in 2013 when Seth MacFarlane hosted the Oscars and he sang a song called "We Saw Your Boobs," and it was about all of the women, all of the nominees, winners that had done nude scenes, and they were cutting to them, and some of them were clearly edited in, but then some of them were like, "Here's me being a good sport." It was really my falling down moment. I was like, "I've had it." I've had it. And then it went into Weinstein Me Too and like the Weinstein kind of Me Too online era, all those trials, all those stories that were coming out. And then the big one for me was the Jian Ghomeshi trial. I had worked with Jian on Q a little bit. So I knew him. One of the producers on Q was one of his survivors, Lucy Dicatere, who's an actor who has been in and out of Halifax across her career. We don't know each other well, but I had all these like weird connections to that. And all the women I knew, and Leslie, I don't know if you had this too, but all of the women I knew were very invested in this trial, and it was like the era of live tweeting trials, and it was just so pervasive. And it was during that trial that I learned how many people I knew had been affected by sexual assault. I was walking around naively thinking, "Oh, like we're all lucky," and it wasn't true. And it wasn't true. And I thought about how hard it would be to have had that happen to you and just walk around like it hasn't. You know, there's so much pain in the world that people are just walking around with like it never happened to them because sexual assault is so common, so common. So, you know, I just all of those things leading up to it and the Jian thing, I just kind of got angry. Like I pivoted from exhaustion to rage, and I thought, what would happen if women were as violent as men? What would it look like?
I One of the things that you touched on there, you mentioned about pivoting to rage, and
Mm,
there is a strong sense of rage within this film,
yeah,
in a good way.
it's okay if it's
You
bad.
know,
I don't mind.
no, well, no, but in it, I think that really sort of gives the film its strength. Is there's just it's just fueled by this passion and like you said, just this enough is enough,
Mm-hmm.
enough is enough attitude experience.
Yeah.
Um, and Lesley, I mean, you do a wonderful job in the film as
Thank
well.
you.
I really appreciate your performance.
Thank you.
The key question I have for both of you. I mean, I would really like to know because this was sort of the first the first impulse I had is, do you view Wally as a hero? Is Wally a hero in this film?
That's a great question. Do you want to go first? I end up talking a lot in these things.
Yeah, you're great. You're really good at it. It's an interesting question because when I think of Wally, I think of like her totally fleshed out and all the different aspects of her. Because I was, portraying her. I was inside there, so I try not to view the characters I'm playing from the outside because it kind of gets in the way. But I don't know that Wally would view herself as a hero. I feel like in it she's doing all that she feels she can do within a broken system.
Yeah, I mean, she's a hero to me. It's sort of like as a stand-in for me doing what I would like to do. Yeah, I think it's pretty heroic. I think in real life, no. Like, this is not a movie that's like pro vigilantism. It's a fantasy. But yeah, I do think she's a hero because she finds a problem and she fixes it. Now, it's an unfixable problem, ultimately, but yeah, she, as she says in the film, one guy at a time, that I can do.
See, it's so interesting. You touched on vigilanteism there. I mean, the word is used in the film. This is a hard question to ask. Forgive me if I ask it poorly. Um, I wonder, I wondered if the idea of gender plays into even how we view her character, because like I watched Batman. We watch Batman. Batman is doing the same thing, and we cheer.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's different about Wally's character? Is that the fact? Is there something else?
I've thought about that a lot. I think about the way that we view Batman, the way we view John Wick, the way we view, like, the list could go on and on and on, all of these male characters. And in some cases, male characters that are existing in a quite literally cartoon world, right? Batman comes from that. But there are lots of examples of male characters turning into vigilantes or seeking revenge on behalf of other people, where I don't think we stop to question whether they're right or wrong to do so.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely gender based. You know, I've had people who are my close friends who I consider very good feminists say to me, "You want me to support her on no information?
Hmm.
Like, that's what you're asking me to do?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And the other thing is that I believe is gender based is when you think of women who do fight back. If you think of Woman with the Dragon Tattoo, is that what that's called?
Girl with the Dragon.
Girl, yes, girl. Sorry, Rooney. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Kill Bill, even.
Yeah.
These are women that have had shit done to them. They have been raped. They have had some indignity done to their bodies. So you go, oh, I understand why you would want revenge for that. Nothing has happened to Wally. So that's also hard for people to get behind. They're like, she's just getting emails and taking care of it? Like, yeah, she is. What's John Wick's body count? He didn't verify everyone.
And with him, it was all about his puppy. Like, you know, but that's another story.
And we can get behind that. Vigilante
Yeah.
for a dog, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't kill people's dogs.
It honestly, and I like that you've talked about this a little bit, because the thing with Wally is she's not personally invested, but she's very personally invested.
Yeah, she doesn't think she is. That's sort of the trick of the movie that we can't talk about, is what is actually driving her. She doesn't know, and then she knows.
Right. No, it's true. Yeah, it's a powerful film. Tara, just thinking as well, one of the questions I had for you is the decision to not show any of the men's faces, which looking at the IMDb, is all the same actor. Felt bad for that guy.
One sweet boy named Jimmy, who's a very good friend of Leslie's, actually.
Yes.
I was just wondering why that was your decision in terms of filmmaking.
There are two reasons. One was budgetary, talent to watch. Every single thing you do adds $1, you know what I mean? So if we're showing violence, we need stunt people. So they did their own stunts. We did not have stunt people. You would need blood, you would need wounds, you would need resets, you need multiple costumes, you need all these things. Like, it just piles up to do violence on screen. And then the other reason, which was a story reason, also there are no names either. And they all had names at a certain point. And then Nicole Steves, my producer, was like, we need to take the names out. I'm like, Nicole, we're bleeping them. And she's like, what if the script gets out? I'm like, well, we'll be able to trace it back. But anyway, we took all the names out. And there are occasional places where we bleep them, so you know that a name is theoretically being said. And that was to sort of subvert the idea in action films and in lots of films, like in Scorsese films either, and like where women are just, they're nothing, they're nameless bodies. And they're disposable characters. And so I kind of felt bad for Jimmy, because he said one day on set, he's like, my first line, all my first lines are hey. And because there's this it's like they're deliberately underwritten. And he did such a great job. Like, I think there's 7 of them. And so there's 7 guys with no face that he has to establish are bad and shitty and different from each other. And he did an amazing job. But yeah, it was sort of like budgetary and subversive.
Also, he is one of the nicest, best humans on the planet. but it's amazing. Even when we were doing like ADR work later on, and I'd hear the way he would say stuff, it's like, oh, he's so good at being awful.
He's also very handsome. I'm sorry, I kept it from
it's
everyone.
too bad.
I mean, he got it pretty rough. But it works. And you know, I think it's a really interesting mix too, because of course with Wally and forgive me, is Kinnan the other character? I'm
Lou, the girlfriend.
The girlfriend. Lou. It's almost a Bonnie and Clyde sort of relationship there, where you're gaining almost strength the more this goes on, but in your relationship as well. I thought that was a really interesting mix.
Except at one point they have to choose, because Lou's never all the way in. She's never all the way.
I don't know. She helps him get costumes at one point.
I know, eventually. I've had very unromantic people read the script and be like, but what about Wally and Lou? I'm like, no. At some point you have to pick the relationship or the cause.
And it is such a lovely love story.
Yeah, which you said you didn't even notice until later, the loveliness of the love story. You're probably too worried about your stunts.
No, it was that, like, it was obviously a huge component of filming it, but there were also so many days of fighting, pushing Jimmy down, hitting Jimmy,
overnight,
all of these things, and also the through line of Wally through the piece, that rage, all of that. I knew there was a love story. Obviously, I took part in it, but it was so nice when we screened it in December to see how beautiful it is on screen.
Agreed.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
They've got a wonderful relationship.
They do. They're so cute together. I loved it. I love working with them. I love working with them individually, and together. It was just like a really nice mix for someone like me who didn't have that much experience. Just to have actors who showed up knowing their shit and being ready to be kind and generous.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, here's a question for you both. I mean, assuming that vigilantism, well, maybe vigilantism is the right way, but what can we do moving forward to continue to make things better? I don't know. That was the one thing that that left me at the end of the film, is I'm like, what else can be done as a man? What can I do better? What needs to happen?
It's so interesting because, Tara brought up Me Too, which, at that moment in time, I think for a lot of the men in my life, that is what they remarked upon. They also were blithely unaware, or just naive, perhaps. And it really, the way they described it to me, it really shook them to see how many women in their lives said Me Too. And yet, flash forward a few years and now it's #MeToo, which gets said so flippantly and at the end of things, as though like it encapsulates an entire, I don't want to say movement, but flaw in our society. It just kind of gets glossed over. #MeToo. Yeah. But what those words meant to people at that time is still true.
I think, I'm not a parent and I can't see it happening. I have cats. I'm sure you're surprised. I do think it's a social thing. It's about how boys are raised in society and how, what they're taught at a young age, because, things aren't getting better. Like, we're not fixing domestic violence. We're not fixing sexual assault. Like, all these stats are just as high as they've ever been, and in fact increased during the pandemic. And just because we have avenues to talk about them now, as we say in the movie, it doesn't mean they're going away or like anyone's becoming, it's not stopping the behavior. So it's like, it's a deep behavioral social issue that I don't know anything about, that I do think it starts at a very young age. I honestly, I don't know. I've been feeling very hopeless seeing what's going on in the US and seeing everyone losing their rights down there and all of the terrible things that are happening, and how all of the people who I feel are on the wrong side of those arguments are really gaining steam and really, dominating the government and the culture and all that stuff. And it's just sort of like, I am scared that that's going to seep up here, because everything does.
Well, I see we're running out of time. I really do appreciate the chance to speak with you both. It's great. It's a great.
Thanks so much. Thanks for your thoughtful questions
Thank you.
too.
Thank you so much for the time to chat with me. I really do appreciate it.
Take care, Steve.
Thanks.
Thanks.